Hey, what's up everyone on YouTube? Working on a 2013 BMW X5 6-cylinder. So it's a 35i. It has a hose that's leaking for the coolant from the reservoir down to the bottom, which leads to the lower radiator hose area. And this is the faulty hose here. You can see that there. So that's already replaced. I didn't get a chance to do footage on that. However, what I do want to show is that someone already modified a hose down there at the bottom, and it has a regular hose clamp, so you can tell that's not a BMW hose clamp right there. And so I have to put the new hose on it to connect it to the hose I just showed you a little while ago. So anyways, we'll get started. Okay, so I'm going to remove this zip tie that's on here, and you'll see the hose that I'm talking about. It's been modified. And there it goes. This is just a regular union right here. And this is the hose I need to install. Now, this works pretty good. It's the same design to get into that spot. So this is the right hose. However, or at least in the design wise, the curvature. However, it's too short. So I'm going to talk to the customer and explain to them what's going on and see if they want me to get the correct part in the sense of the length, because it works perfect here. So you can see it snaps in place. See? Works perfect. So this is exactly what we're needing. I'll explain this to the customer and ask to see if we can still proceed by using the union onto this end of the hose and then add it onto the hose that exists there already. Just cut it up so it can look nice and look like it's the correct length. So gotta get with the customer. So before I call the customer, I'm gonna take off this clamp off this heater hose here so I can take out the whole assembly and then cut it to the correct length. Again, if the customer allows me to. Okay, so the customer approved. Now we're ready to take off the hose so that we can cut it to the right size. Now we can pull it off. And pull out the hose. Okay, so this is the part we got from BMW. And again, the curvature is correct. This is what's really important to us because we need to connect this to the hose that's already been installed before, the one where I didn't record. But anyways, this is just the other piece of the heater hose. However, someone modified it before and they installed this union here. This is not good. So I'm going to take out the hose clamp. I'm going to take out the hose clamp and I'm going to reuse this, but I'm going to place it here and shorten the length of this hose so that we don't affect the integrity of this new hose, and just add this original piece hose onto the new hose that was purchased. Okay, so now I'm going to check the distance And I think we'll be good around right here. I'd rather have a little extra long just in case I make a mistake. We have a nice clean cut using the proper tools. Now I'm going to remove this hose clamp off of this union. Okay, so now let's remove this clamp here so that we can get that union hose. Oh no. Well, this union is no good, broken. Time to go get another one. So, old one gone. Got the new one. And 2 new clamps. Just gonna do a mark right here so I know how to place the clamp. Okay, now the other one. I'll put that later. So I'm gonna position this onto this hose onto this clamp or onto this union once it's already in the engine bay. Okay, now let's put it back on the vehicle. Alright, so I'm just gonna route this hose back into its original path. So this is the best camera shot I can give you, but there's a clamp on the firewall. I want to make sure that hose goes into that clamp to secure it properly. Okay, now let's connect this hose onto the hose coupler here. Make sure this is clean, and also let's get a little rag. You can see a little dust on the beveled end of that coupler. Just clean that up as well. Okay. So there's like a beveled cut that's inside there, and just want to clean that up, removing the debris so that when you install this end of the coupler, it seals properly. It clicked, it's sealed. Now let's route this down to the bottom of its original path and connect it to the union we just created. So this needs to be routed behind or the right side of the steering column, and then that hose curves underneath the steering column. Okay, so if we take a look at this hose here, right underneath that hose I just pointed to, I'll do my best to explain. It's so difficult. Give me one sec. Okay. Trying to point this out for you. This is the new hose, and you see there's a steering column, so you want to make sure there's clearance there to keep this in a position to prevent this hose from sliding over onto the steering column, which you don't want that to happen. Somewhere in this spot right there, well, I can only feel it but I can't see it, is a clamp that's like snapped onto the body of the engine. Well, that clamp is what secures this hose in place to make sure that this hose does not slide over to the steering column. So make sure that you snap it in place. Okay, so I wish I can give you better footage, but I can't. But this is the hose that needs to connect to that hose with the union that I installed. So I need to put those two together and secure it properly. So can't show you this video because this camera would be in my way. Alright, so the hose is already connected. We're ready to go. Now we're going to move on to the heater hose on the firewall. Alright, let's get this heater hose in place. Now let's get the clamp. Okay, almost there. Perfect. We're good to go. Okay, so now we're gonna install the reservoir, the coolant reservoir. Make sure you hook up the coolant level sensor, and make sure this is a hose that clips into the hose coupler that connects onto this area right here, this other coupler that pertains to the reservoir. Make sure that there is no dirt on the beveled angled cut area here, and also on the hose, and let's install it. Okay, now that the coolant reservoir hose is already installed and the sensor is already in place, we'll install the securement bolts or screws that secures the coolant reservoir. Okay, securement bolts already installed in the reservoir. Now we gotta connect this hose here. Alright, we're good there. Now we're gonna connect the overflow hose. Make sure it's clean. Good. Alright. Okay, so I'm using this tool right here, Jeffy-Tor or Heffer-Tor, I don't know, professional tool supplier. So this is a pressure kit and also a coolant refill vacuum tester as well. So and a pressure tester. So let's see how this works. I'm using a number 14 cap. Oh no, I'm sorry, number 15 cap on the BMW. I already have everything hooked up. My air supply is here. This is off. This is the vacuum to vacuum the coolant. But we're not going to do that yet because we're going to test first. Let's see what happens. And I'm going to do it around 20 inches of vacuum. It's slowly moving now. I'm going to stop right there for a minute, because now what I'm going to do now is turn the car on the on position. And the reason why is because we need to turn the AC system on, but we need to put it on full max. And you know, we gotta put it on full max and the temperature. And doing that will cause the, or will open up the heater valve completely. So it's already in. and we're gonna go all the way max on temperature. Speed low. We're good. That's all. Now, if I didn't have that coolant refiller, with vacuum, then I definitely would have to hold on to the pedal for 12 seconds so that the water pump can go on, because it's an electric water pump. But we don't have to do that because of the tool that we have. Okay. So now we're gonna vacuum more. Just getting used to this tool. So and you'll notice that it's dropping more. So I want to get it down to 20 Hg. I don't want to go any more than that. I don't want to cause any problems, or if any problems can occur if it's sucking too much or creating a vacuum too much. Alright, we're at 20. So we're good. Now I'm going to hold the vacuum for 10 minutes. I want to make sure that everything is good and it's not leaking. Okay, so if it's holding vacuum, this whole cooling system, if it's holding vacuum for 10 minutes or longer, then we know for sure there's no leak, meaning that this needle should not move. Okay, if it moves, that means that we still have a leak. It could probably be the clamps that I have installed, or it could probably be the hoses, the couplers, where maybe it didn't sit properly. I'm not too sure, but so far it's doing well and we haven't lost any pressure. Okay, so we're doing good there. Okay, so while this is holding vacuum, I'm going to start putting the coolant in the bucket. And then add water there, distilled water. Okay, we're mixing the water into the bucket. We wanted to mix it together in the bucket and not just pour all the coolant in the vehicle and the engine and then put water in it. It's best if we mix it together before we put it into the engine. Alright, now everything's holding, everything's good. So now we're going to open up this valve so that the coolant can get sucked in. Make sure that the pickup tube stays underneath the water level. There we go. Once that needle goes to 0, it's full. The pickup tube is still underneath the coolant level in the bucket, and we're still not at 0. We're almost at 0. We're good. We're close to 0. I don't hear any more flow, so I'm closing it. And there we are. So we still have a little bit of coolant left. Okay, so coolant's already in. I'm just gonna install this intake duct work, put that on there, and then I'm gonna let it run for a little while just to make sure everything's good, running right, and it's not overheating before I turn it over to the customer. Thank you everyone for watching my video. Hope this video helped you out. I want to give a special thanks to my friend Gil for entrusting me with his vehicle. Also, hit the like button and subscribe. I really appreciate it. See y'all later. Bye.